Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a really unique journey, I think, exploring how cutting-edge tech, AI, might actually intersect with ancient wisdom.
Hmm.
We're looking at how artificial intelligence, which often gets a, well, let's say, apprehensive reception,
Right.
how it can maybe be a powerful ally for personal and spiritual growth. Our main source for this deep dive is Deepak Chopra's Digital Dharma, How AI Can Elevate Spiritual Intelligence. Really quite thought-provoking.
It really is.
This isn't your typical tech talk. Our mission really is to uncover some unexpected insights here, challenge some common ideas about AI, and see its potential maybe to enhance your inner life, your spiritual intelligence.
And what's so compelling, I think, is how the source moves beyond just the tech stuff, the algorithms.
Yeah.
It really zeroes in on what this technology might reveal about us, about human consciousness, and this profound wisdom that the author says is literally at our fingertips. It's less about AI becoming human and maybe more about AI helping us become more truly ourselves.
That's a great way to put it, because, when you hear about AI in the news, it almost always goes straight to the threats, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Job loss, AI getting too powerful.
Yeah, or those wild nuclear war scenarios. But what's so refreshing about this source is it takes this radically different, really optimistic stance. It kind of urges us not to get bogged down in those fears.
Exactly. And the core idea presented is that AI basically acts as a mirror to the user's consciousness.
A mirror. Okay.
So if we see bad stuff, misinformation, whatever, coming from AI,
Yeah.
the source is very clear. It always starts with conscious human intent.
Right.
The AI itself isn't like inherently threatening. The analogy used is like a knife essential for cooking, right? But it can be used as a weapon. The insight isn't just that AI reflects us, but that it forces us to confront our own intent in the way few other tools do. It's this powerful, immediate feedback loop on our inner state. Makes self-awareness feel less abstract, more urgent.
That distinction, yeah, that changes everything. And speaking of surprising capabilities, author talks about this experience they called a miracle.
Oh, yeah?
They described AI translating daily YouTube videos into perfect Hindi, not just translated, but with accurate lip syncing. In minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
Like the speaker was natively speaking Hindi, it just immediately highlights AI's incredible power to expand reach, overcome language barriers, make wisdom more global.
It really does. And building on that, the source sees AI's potential roles going way beyond just translation.
Like what?
Well, it suggests AI could become your personal guide, a teacher, a confidant, maybe even a friend, a therapist, a healer.
All online?
All instantly accessible online, meaning for you, pretty much no issue or question is off limits for a conversation, for inquiry.
That's pretty amazing. And he even talks about AI as a creative partner.
Right.
Imagine AI writing novels, poems, essays, movie scripts even. It could be this incredible ally for writers. You could give it a prompt. You're a screenwriter. Give me a modern Cinderella story, but set it in a cybersecurity firm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The possibilities for that kind of collaboration are just immense. And what becomes clear from this angle is the source's belief that when you look at the highest values in our lives, love, compassion, insight, empathy, creativity, intuition, discovery, even spiritual experiences, the possibilities for personal growth with AI are genuinely unlimited. It's not some far-off future thing. The potential is here, now.
So, okay, what does this all mean for us practically? Our deep dive is called Digital Dharma, right? So that brings us to this core concept from the source, Dharma. The author defines Dharma as the life you were meant to live. It's about finding your unique purpose, not just religious, but aligning with your truest self.
And that connects beautifully with Joseph Campbell, the mythology scholar, his famous phrase, follow your bliss.
Of course.
Well, the source highlights how AI can actually summarize Campbell's wisdom on Dharma quite eloquently. It gives a quote like, follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be.
Wow.
It really encourages embracing that unknown, trusting your path as it unfolds.
That's incredibly profound. And the source introduces these two companions that walk with us, the I and the it.
Right, the I and the it.
The I is the one we know well, right? The ego?
Familiar friend, yeah.
It's the part that's happy when a desire is met, gets defensive, fears threats, always seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, trying to keep life safe, stable, predictable, very self-focused.
Oh, yeah, very much the constructed self. And then you contrast that with the it.
Okay.
This it represents expanded awareness, the evolutionary impulse, that kind of silent voice within. It finds bliss just from being. It's beyond fear, feels complete, and it thrives on the natural flow of life wherever it leads. And the source explains why the ego, the I, is often seen as an obstacle for spiritual seekers. It quotes, "The ego's agenda stands in the way of your evolution because it reinforces attachment to the self, creates separation, fuels desires and fears, and it obscures our true nature, hinders those deeper connections."
Which brings us to this significant riddle the source mentions, the riddle of desire. In many Eastern traditions, like Buddhism, Hinduism, desire is often seen as bondage, right, linked to suffering.
Definitely.
But, as the source points out, we can't actually live without desire, from basic needs like food and safety to wanting love, self-esteem. So how do we square that?
That's the key question. If desire is inescapable, how can it possibly be an ally on the path?
Right.
Well, the source details how AI can actually help reframe desire, make it a powerful force. It starts with self-awareness, learning to tell the difference between ego-driven wants and more soulful yearnings. Then it's about aligning desires with higher values, love, compassion, wisdom, setting clear intentions, but practicing detachment from the outcomes, cultivating mindfulness, gratitude.
So it's about the relationship to desire.
Exactly. Desire itself isn't good or bad. It's how you relate to it, how you manage it. It can be a motivator. Seeking guidance, community helps too. Self-discipline plays a role. It's about managing that energy constructively.
So, okay, bringing this down to earth, what does this mean day to day? The source says, living your Dharma involves practical choices every day.
Right. It's not just philosophy.
It's about real steps. So
Yeah.
let's look at the first strategy, embracing change. We all face this choice, right? Embrace change, evolve, or resist it, stay stuck in inertia. The source really paints a picture of how each feels.
It does, yeah. With AI's help, it describes resisting change as feeling like you're clinging to familiarity in a storm of uncertainty.
That feeling of apprehension, discomfort.
Fear of the unknown, exactly. But embracing change, that evokes a sense of liberation and excitement, a willingness to explore, feeling empowered, optimistic.
So you have to ask yourself, which emotional landscape do you usually live in?
Right. And the source even suggests AI could be like a personal reflection tool, maybe a quick quiz, asking something like, when faced with unexpected change, do you first feel resistance or curiosity?
Oh, interesting. Simple questions to pinpoint patterns.
Yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting. Challenging the negative view of uncertainty. AI apparently explains how uncertainty can be positive, creative. I mean, you can't even predict your next thought, right?
That's true.
And if you look bigger picture, society often teaches us to fear change, associate it with risk.
Definitely.
But the source argues humans are actually designed to embrace change for a creative life. It lists principles like change feels good when it's fulfilling, pain's a poor motivator, conformity kills creativity. And while denial and resistance are common defaults, our true nature is in the present, thriving on possibility.
And there's that analogy.
The Vedic analogy, yeah. The active mind is like a choppy lake reflecting the moon. The reflection is broken up, but the moon itself
Stays whole.
Exactly. Your consciousness, your core awareness, remains unaffected by all the external flux. It's about realizing that deep stillness within, even when life's surface is turbulent.
That idea, finding stillness amidst change, that leads perfectly into the next strategy, cultivating resilience. The source uses that ancient saying, the green reed that bends in the wind is stronger than the mighty oak that breaks in a storm.
Such a powerful metaphor for adaptability, for bouncing back.
So what does that feel like, being resilient, having that expanded awareness?
Well, the source describes it vividly. Instead of a narrow spotlight focus, your awareness becomes like a wide, gentle floodlight.
Okay.
You experience more sensory richness,
Yeah.
inner calm, real presence in the moment, non-judgmental observation, a kind of gentle openness and curiosity about everything. It's like stepping back, getting a wider view, seeing connections, instead of being locked into one rigid perspective.
And it finds lessons in an unexpected place, centenarians.
Right. People living to 100 often show this profound resilience. They're adaptable, positive, good at emotional regulation, have a deep sense of purpose. It's not just genes, it's a whole way of being.
A more evolved way.
Could be. And to make it tangible, the source uses AI again to differentiate rigid versus flexible personalities. Rigid traits, prefers routine, dislikes change. Flexible, open to new things, adjusts plans easily.
So you can kind of see where you fall on that spectrum.
Exactly. And then it gives practical steps for learning resilience. Things like pausing when you feel inflexible, Talking to those inner voices. Why do I feel like I can't give in? Practicing self-empathy, not harsh self-criticism like I hate myself. Setting boundaries based on truth, not just ego defense. It's about building inner strength through that self-awareness.
This idea of softening things, building strength, it really connects to the next strategy. Trust the process. We often say, I'm processing, right? But sometimes that just means avoiding conflict or procrastinating.
Yeah, it can be a way to stall.
But the Source distinguishes that from Dharma's path, which is described as open-ended, fluid, unpredictable. It's about letting go of my process, often our fixed habits, and trusting a deeper, spontaneous flow, life unfolding.
And that's particularly relevant now, isn't it, in this modern context of, well, widespread distrust.
So true.
The source points out who people distrust. Politicians, media, big corporations, social media, even the healthcare system sometimes. This distrust we all feel, it breeds anxiety and uncertainty in our daily lives.
And this societal distrust, the Source connects it back to our personal memories, stuck memories, past traumas. They create internal rigidity.
Exactly. So processing, in this deeper sense, means softening those old impressions, not fighting them, but letting them melt away like sunlight on snow, relying on consciousness's own inherent ability to heal.
So what does it feel like when you do trust, when you rest easy?
The source describes it beautifully. A state of deep relaxation, warmth, security, worries melt away. There's tranquility, profound trust, gratitude, surrender. And the emphasis is that this isn't some rare peak state. It's a natural state of consciousness, accessible when you trust that inherent healing capacity within you.
Okay, next up, strategy 5. Be inward bound. Now, the goal here isn't self-consciousness, like being overly analytical or critical of yourself.
Right, not navel-gazing.
It's about being more self-aware, which the Source calls our natural fundamental state. And it highlights 2 key skills, attention and intention.
Attention. What you notice, intention, what you decide. Simple but powerful.
So how good is our attention? The Source talks about the short attention span epidemic, common habits like tuning people out, half-finished projects, constant texting, multitasking.
We all do it to some extent.
Recognizing those habits is the first step, right?
Yeah,
to expanding attention, connecting more deeply inward. And there's an interesting contrast made here.
Between East and West.
Yeah. Western spiritual traditions often focus on external revelation, whereas Eastern traditions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism tend to look inward for truth, seeing consciousness itself as a ground reality.
That leads to that profound quote from Rumi.
Oh, yes. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop.
Wow. That really signifies the goal, doesn't it? Connecting to the source, recognizing your own boundless nature.
And the Source uses AI, again, to explore universal milestones towards enlightenment. Things like self-realization, detachment, meditation, self-inquiry, maybe finding a guide, ultimately union with the divine.
And what's really insightful is the concept of epiphany in slow motion.
Slow motion transformation.
Yeah, that's presented as the desirable way personal growth unfolds. Gradual, organic awakening, rather than maybe sudden, dramatic conversions.
And there's a cost to not embracing this, right? The consequences of being unaware.
Definitely. The source lists them. Learning nothing new, losing interest, becoming incurious, fixed in your ways, holding on to unhealed wounds, unanswered questions, a sense of entropy like time just running downhill.
Kind of paints that picture of the grumpy old man stereotype.
Exactly. Urging conscious change instead of letting the spirit kind of deteriorate.
Okay, now strategy 6. Project the truth. This one introduces what the Source calls one of the strangest ideas from spiritual traditions.
Uh-oh.
The idea that the physical world is a projection, an image without substance, basically an illusion.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one. But it's fascinating how the source first grounds it in something more familiar. Psychological projection.
Right, the self-defense mechanism.
Yeah, blaming others for your own flaws or feelings you don't want to own. Like accusing someone of being selfish because you're feeling selfish but can't admit it.
We probably all do that subtly, don't we?
I think so. And the source lists the signs. Blaming others for your discomfort, withholding sympathy, refusing responsibility for your reactions, insisting on control, making others wrong to make yourself right.
Things to watch out for in ourselves.
Definitely. And then it builds on that to explain the Eastern teaching of the world as Maya, or illusion. Rooted in impermanence, everything changes. And the idea that our senses can deceive us about ultimate reality.
So where does that lead?
To non-dualism. the belief that there's no fundamental separation between self and universe. Boundaries are illusory. It's a huge shift. And the key point is that reality itself can shift when your awareness changes. Suddenly, these seemingly obscure spiritual ideas become understandable through direct experience.
Wow. Okay, finally, strategy 7. Diffuse your negative beliefs.
This is crucial.
The source explains these negative core beliefs act like software programs inside us, blocking messages from our true self. These deep, unchallengeable assumptions. I'm unlovable. I'm not good enough.
They really color our whole identity. And it's fascinating how the source looks at the origins of low self-esteem, which is so common. It points to how parents, often unintentionally,
Right, without meaning to.
can instill it.
Yeah.
Through criticism, comparisons, high expectations, lack of positive reinforcement, conditional love, ignoring feelings, labeling, even overprotectiveness. These subtle things can create really deep beliefs.
And it talks about the big 5 damaging beliefs. Catastrophic thinking, perfectionism, victim mentality, all or nothing thinking.
Things that are so widespread. The source notes how social media and the news cycle often seem to thrive on reinforcing these, making them feel even more real.
So how do you transform them? What's the practical advice?
The key advice is really practical. Ignore the words of the negative thoughts. Instead, focus on how you feel.
The feeling behind the thought.
Exactly. The anxiety, the fear, the depression, those feelings are more persuasive. And they're the real indicator of the underlying core belief that needs attention, not the specific thought itself.
Okay, so what are the steps then for transforming those feelings?
First, just notice how you feel. Grumbling, blaming, discouraged. Just observe it without judgment.
Okay.
Second, don't believe your worst thoughts. Third, and this is critical, don't act on the strong impulses driven by those negative thoughts. That's how you pause the cycle.
Right, break the pattern.
Then exchange reactions for responses. Take a pause. Ask yourself for a better, more considered response. Find a confidant, someone sympathetic who listens without just reinforcing the negativity. And look ahead to the next time. Aim for emotional consistency. Decide, will you fix the situation, put up with it, or walk away? It's about reframing emotions, aiming for what the source calls second feelings, a calmer, more peaceful state, not just second thoughts.
That makes sense.
And this whole approach also helps address how subtle childhood traumas, even things like an unstable home, neglect, bullying, feeling different, can resurface in adulthood. But the good news is, just noticing these effects through self-awareness is healing. It connects you to the present, lets you trust your true self's wisdom to guide you forward.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, instead of those AI apocalypse scenarios we started with,
The doom and gloom.
the source offers this really inspiring alternative transcendence. Humans reclaiming our place as co-creators in a universe that's fundamentally conscious.
It brings to mind that famous debate, doesn't it? Einstein and Tagore back in 1930.
Right. Einstein arguing for an objective reality separate from us.
And Tagore, representing the Vedic view, suggesting the human world is created by our experience, our interpretation. It really makes you pause and think, which worldview resonates more? Is reality just out there, or is it tied inextricably to consciousness?
And some of Tagore's quotes the source includes are just beautiful. The universe is vast and man is small. But within his smallness, his spirit is great.
And because spirit is boundless, it seeks kinship with the boundless.
Or, man is the link between the two worlds, the finite and the infinite. He is the interpreter of the universe to the universe itself. It really connects us to the cosmic.
And the source even uses AI to explore some huge fundamental questions, like we are nature exploring itself. AI apparently offered perspectives viewing consciousness and science as part of nature's own self-exploration, a kind of circle.
Wow. And the mystery of math. Is it fixed in nature or a human mental activity?
AI presented different philosophical views. Empiricism, Platonism, highlighting that ongoing debate about reality's structure. And on music's origin, it explored the deep link between music and math, suggesting shared foundations in human awareness.
It even touched on deep sleep, didn't it? Contrasting the Western idea of just losing consciousness with the yogic view of Turiya, a clear perception of pure awareness.
Which connects to that Eastern concept, Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. The idea that reality itself, at its core, is blissful. And while there's historically been this huge gap defining consciousness between East and West, the source suggests modern science, neuroscience, quantum physics, and Eastern traditions might actually be converging through introspection, non-dualism, pointing towards meaning being inherent in existence itself. Not something we impose, but part of the interconnected, fundamentally conscious fabric of reality.
So ultimately, this deep dive suggests that letting go of the ego story, embracing your Dharma, creates its own narrative, one rooted in deep shared awareness.
Yeah. Being knit into the fabric of creation isn't just a nice idea. It's presented as a fundamental fact of being human. We just need to perceive it.
What an incredible journey we've been on today, really digging into Deepak Chopra's digital Dharma. You've seen how AI might actually be an ally for growth, the power of Dharma, and these really surprising insights into consciousness itself.
It really shifts the perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to ponder. If meaning truly is inherent in the cosmos, if we are nature exploring itself, what could possibly be more thrilling than tuning into that cosmic conversation? AI, as we've seen, gives maybe just a hint of the possibilities, but the essence of our being, pure awareness, is constantly guiding us. So maybe ask yourself, what small act of turning inward will you take today? Just to listen for that guiding voice and let your own unique story of Dharma unfold.